Hello, my dear English learners. Welcome back to English Practice with Julia. I'm Julia, and I'm truly so happy to have you here with me today. If this is your first time here, then let me warmly welcome you. Please feel relaxed and comfortable. You do not need perfect English to join this lesson. You only need a little time, a little patience, and the willingness to learn. And I'll be here to guide you gently, step by step, every single day. We upload a new English learning video every day, so you can keep practicing in a calm, easy, and consistent way without pressure. Today, I want you to think of this lesson as a cozy English conversation. Just you and me, learning together in a simple and peaceful way. There is no need to hurry, and there is no need to feel nervous. We are going to gently improve your listening and also your speaking. So if you can, please take a pen and some paper and keep them near you. It's not a rule, of course, but it can really help you remember new ideas more easily. And it can help you feel more confident as you practice. Now, today's topic is something very powerful, something that can truly change the way you sound in English. Today, we are going to explore more than 50 advanced phrases for English conversations. Yes, phrases that native speakers use naturally. Phrases that help you sound more fluent, more confident, and more expressive in your daily life. You might already. I know many English words, but sometimes it's not about knowing more words. It's about knowing the right phrases, the natural combinations of words that people actually use in real conversations. And that is exactly what we will practice together today. We will go through real-life situations, simple daily conversations, and natural sentence patterns that you can use again and again. You will learn how to express your thoughts more clearly, how to react more naturally, and how to make your English sound smooth and connected, just like a native speaker. You'll also notice something very interesting. Many advanced phrases are actually quite simple, but they are used in a very specific way. And once you understand that, your English will start to feel easier, more automatic, and much more natural. Throughout this lesson, I will guide you gently. We will listen, we will repeat, and we will practice together. I will also give you small exercises inside our conversation so you can try using these phrases yourself, slowly, calmly, and with confidence. Imagine someone is explaining something to you. Maybe your friend is telling you why they were late, or your colleague is describing a problem at work. Instead of just saying, okay, or I understand, you can say, that makes sense. It shows that you are not only listening, but also truly understanding the logic behind what they said. For example, your friend says, sorry I couldn't call you earlier. My phone battery died. And you reply, ah. That makes sense. It feels natural, smooth, and very human. Now, let's gently practice this together. Imagine I say to you, I didn't go outside today because it was raining all day. And you respond softly. That makes sense. Good. Now again, a little more naturally. That makes sense. You see, this is how real conversations flow, not with complicated words, but with natural reactions. Now let's move a little deeper. Another beautiful phrase you can use is, I see what you mean. This phrase is slightly more advanced, and it shows deeper understanding, especially when someone is explaining an idea or opinion. For example, someone says, working from home can be comfortable, but sometimes it feels lonely. And you respond, yeah, I see what you mean. It shows emotional understanding, not just logical understanding. Let's practice this together now. I'll say something, and you respond. I see what you mean. Learning English every day can feel difficult sometimes. Now you say, I see what you mean. Very good. Say it again. Slowly. I see what you mean. Now let's gently expand your expression. Sometimes you want to agree with someone, but in a more natural and advanced way. Instead of saying just yes, you can say exactly. This one word, when used correctly, can make you sound very fluent. For example, your friend says, this restaurant is really good. The food is always fresh. And you say, exactly. It shows strong agreement and confidence. Now try it with me. I say, practicing a little every day is better than studying once a week. And you say, exactly. Oh, perfect. Again, exactly. Now let's take another step forward. Sometimes you want to add your opinion in a soft and polite way. And a very natural phrase for this is, to be honest. This phrase is very common in real conversations, and it helps you sound more natural and open. For example, to be honest, I didn't really enjoy that movie. Or, to be honest, I feel a bit tired today. Let's practice together. I'll give you a situation, and you respond using to be honest. How do you feel about waking up early every day? Now you say, to be honest, it's a bit difficult for me. Very nice. Say it again. Slowly. To be honest, it's a bit difficult for me. Now notice how your sentence feels more complete, more natural, more human. Let's continue. Sometimes in conversations, you want a little time to think. You don't want silence, and you don't want to sound unsure. So you can use a soft thinking phrase like, let me think. For example, someone asks you, what do you want to do this weekend? And you say, let me think. It gives you time and keeps the conversation flowing. Now you try. I ask you, what is your favorite place to relax? You say, let me think. Good. Again, let me think. Now we will slowly move into a slightly more expressive phrase, something you can use when you want to share your perspective. And that phrase is, from my point of view. This phrase helps you sound more structured, more confident, and more advanced. For example, from my point of view, learning English through daily practice is very effective. Now repeat after me, slowly. From my point of view, learning English every day is very helpful. Beautiful. Say it again, naturally. From my point of view, learning English every day is very helpful. Now let's gently connect this with real life. Imagine you are talking to a friend about studying. You can say, "From my point of view, short daily practice is better than long sessions once a week." Do you feel how natural that sounds? Let's continue our journey. Sometimes you want to show surprise, but in a calm and natural way. And a great phrase for that is "no way." For example, your friend says, "I finished that whole book in one day." And you say, "No way." Yeah, it shows surprise, excitement, and interest. Now you try. I say, "I woke up at 5 a.m. today." You respond, "No way." Great. Again. "No way." Now let's slow down a little and notice something important. You are not just learning phrases. You are learning how to feel the language, how to react naturally, how to become part of the conversation. Let's move to another useful phrase. It depends. This phrase is very powerful when you don't want to give a simple yes or no answer. For example, someone asks, "Do you like working at night?" And you say, "It depends. Maybe sometimes yes, sometimes no." Now, practice with me. I ask, "Is learning English easy?" You say, "It depends." Very good. Again, "It depends." Now let's expand it a little. It depends on your practice. Beautiful. Now you are starting to build longer, more natural responses. Let's gently introduce another phrase. I'm not sure. This is very useful when you don't have a clear answer, and it sounds much more natural than staying silent. For example, I'm not sure if I can come tomorrow. Now repeat after me. I'm not sure. Again. I'm not sure. Now let's connect it. I'm not sure, but I'll try. Excellent. Now take a small breath, relax your shoulders, and notice how you are slowly building confidence. Let's continue. Another advanced and very natural phrase is "at the end of the day." This phrase is often used when you want to summarize something or express a final thought. For example, at the end of the day, what matters is your happiness. Now repeat with me, slowly. At the end of the day, what matters is your progress. Beautiful. Now you try to feel it. Say it again. At the end of the day, what matters is your progress. Now, let's gently move forward. Sometimes you want to introduce a different idea, and you can use. On the other hand, for example, studying at home is comfortable, but on the other hand, it can be distracting. Now repeat. On the other hand, again. On the other hand. Now connect it. It's easy, but on the other hand, it takes time. Very nice. Now let's pause for a moment and do a small practice together. I will say a situation, and you respond using one of the phrases we learned. Just choose what feels natural. I didn't sleep well last night. Maybe you say, that makes sense, or I see what you mean. I think practicing daily is important. You say, exactly. I don't know what to eat today. You say, let me think. Beautiful. You are doing really well. Now let's gently continue. Another natural phrase is, I get it. This is similar to I understand, but more casual and conversational. For example, oh, I get it now. Repeat after me. I get it. Again. I get it. Now connect it. Oh, I get it now. Excellent. I imagine your friend is apologizing to you. Maybe they say, I'm really sorry I forgot to reply to your message. And instead of saying just okay, you can respond warmly. It's not a big deal. It makes the conversation softer, kinder, and more human. Now let's practice together. I say, sorry I'm a little late. And you respond, it's not a big deal. Very good. Again, it's not a big deal. Now let's move into a slightly more expressive phrase. Something you can use when you want to say that something is very easy. And that phrase is, it's a piece of cake. For example, don't worry about this task. It's a piece of cake. It means something is very simple to do. Now repeat after me. It's a piece of cake. Again, it's a piece of cake. Now try it in a sentence. Learning basic phrases is a piece of cake. Beautiful. Let's continue. Sometimes you want to say that something is difficult, but in a natural and expressive way. And you can say, it's not that easy. For example, speaking fluently is not that easy at the beginning. Now you try. It's not that easy. Again, it's not that easy. Now connect it. At first, it's not that easy, but it gets better. Excellent. Now let's introduce a phrase that helps you explain your intention. Something very common in daily conversations. And that phrase is, what I mean is, this phrase is very useful when you want to clarify your idea or explain something in a better way. For example, what I mean is, you should practice a little every day. Now repeat. What I mean is, again. What I mean is, now try it in a full sentence. What I mean is, consistency is more important than perfection. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to politely disagree with someone without sounding rude. And a beautiful phrase for that is, I'm not sure about that. For example, someone says, you don't need practice to improve, and you respond, I'm not sure about that. It sounds soft, respectful, and thoughtful. Now repeat after me. I'm not sure about that. Again, I'm not sure about that. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase you can use when something surprises you slightly is, really? But not just as a question. It can also show interest, curiosity, and engagement. For example, I studied English for 5 hours today, and you say, really? Now you try. I say, I woke up at 4 a.m. You respond, really? Good. Again. Really? Now let's gently expand your expression. Sometimes you want to show encouragement, and a simple but powerful phrase is, you've got this. For example, don't worry. You've got this. It gives confidence and positive energy. Now repeat, you've got this. Again, you've got this. Now try it in context. Keep practicing. You've got this. Excellent. Now let's take a calm breath and continue. Another advanced phrase that sounds very natural is, "That's a good point." You can use this when someone says something thoughtful and you want to acknowledge it. For example, practicing speaking every day helps build confidence, and you say, "That's a good point." Now repeat after me. That's a good point. Again, that's a good point. Now connect it. That's a good point. I should try that. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to show that something is obvious, and you can say, "Of course." For example, "Can you help me with this?" And you say, "Of course." Now repeat. "Of course." Again, "Of course." Now extend it. "Of course. I'll help you." Very nice. Now let's introduce another useful phrase. That sounds good. This is perfect when you agree with a plan or idea. Though, for example, "Let's study together tomorrow." And you say, "That sounds good." Now repeat after me. That sounds good. Again, that sounds good. Now try it in a sentence. Let's practice later. That sounds good. Excellent. Now let's continue. Sometimes you want to say that something is possible. And a very natural phrase is, "It could be." For example, "Do you think this will work?" And you say, "It could be." Now repeat. It could be. Again, it could be. Now connect it. It could be a good idea. Beautiful. Now let's slow down and do a small practice together. I will give you situations and you respond naturally. I don't understand this lesson. You might say, what I mean is, which part is difficult? I think this exercise is very easy. You can say, that's a good point, or exactly. I'm feeling nervous about speaking. You can say, you've got this. Very nice. You are doing really well. Now let's move to another phrase. To be fair. This is often used when you want to consider another side of a situation. For example, to be fair, learning a new language takes time. Now repeat after me. To be fair. Again. To be fair. Now use it. To be fair, you are improving every day. Excellent. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is at least. You can use this when you want to find something positive in a situation. For example, I didn't finish everything, but at least I tried. I now repeat. At least. Again. At least. Now connect it. At least I learned something new. Very good. Now take a gentle breath, relax, and notice your progress again. You are not just memorizing. You are building real conversational ability. Let's continue with another phrase. That's interesting. You can use this when someone shares something new or surprising. For example, I practice English while walking. And you say, that's interesting. Now repeat, that's interesting. Again, that's interesting. Now extend it. That's interesting. Tell me more. Beautiful. Now we will slowly move to a slightly deeper phrase. As far as I know. This phrase is used when you are giving information, but you are not completely certain. For example, as far as I know, this method works well. Now repeat. As far as I know. Again, as far as I know. Now use it. As far as I know, practice improves fluency. Excellent. Now we'll explore another very natural phrase that you will hear often in real conversations, especially when people want to express a small realization. And that phrase is, now that I think about it. This phrase is very useful when you suddenly remember something, or when a new idea comes to your mind during a conversation. For example, now that I think about it, I haven't seen her in a long time. Now repeat after me, slowly. Now that I think about it. Again. Now that I think about it. Now try it in your own sentence. Now that I think about it, I should practice more regularly. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to show that something is not your usual behavior, and a very natural phrase for that is, it's not like me. For example, it's not like me to forget important things. Now repeat, it's not like me. Again, it's not like me. Now connect it. It's not like me to give up easily. Excellent. Now, let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. I can't help but. This phrase is used when you want to say that something happens naturally without control. For example, I can't help but smile when I hear that song. Now repeat after me. I can't help but. Again. I can't help but. Now use it. I can't help but feel happy when I make progress. Very nice. Now let's continue. Sometimes you want to say that something is very likely, and a natural phrase is chances are. For example, chances are you will improve if you practice every day. Now repeat. Chances are. Again, chances are. Now connect it. Chances are things will get easier. Beautiful. Now let's move to another useful phrase. That reminds me. This phrase helps you connect ideas in a conversation. For example, that reminds me. I need to call my friend. Now repeat. That reminds me. Again, that reminds me. Now use it. That reminds me. I should review my notes. Excellent. Now let's slow down a little and feel the rhythm of English. You are not rushing. You are building your language step by step. Now let's explore a phrase that helps you soften your opinion. I guess. This phrase makes your sentence sound more natural and less direct. For example, I guess it takes time to become fluent. Now repeat. I guess. Again. I guess. Now connect it. I guess I need more practice. Very good. Now let's continue. Another phrase you will hear very often is, You know what I mean? This phrase is used to check if the other person understands your idea. For example, sometimes learning feels slow. You know what I mean? Now repeat. You know what I mean? Again. You know what I mean? Now try it. It can be challenging sometimes. You know what I mean? Excellent. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is very common, and a natural phrase is, it happens all the time. For example, making mistakes while learning. It happens all the time. Now repeat. It happens all the time. Again, it happens all the time. Now connect it. Don't worry. It happens all the time. Very nice. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. That works for me. This is very useful when you agree with a suggestion or plan. For example, let's meet in the evening, and you say, that works for me. Now repeat. That works for me. And again, that works for me. Now use it. We can practice later. That works for me. Excellent. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, I'd say. This phrase helps you give your opinion in a soft and natural way. For example, I'd say this method is quite effective. Now repeat. I'd say. Again. I'd say. Now connect it. I'd say you are improving a lot. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express doubt, and a useful phrase is, I doubt it. For example, do you think it will be easy? And you say, I doubt it. Now repeat. I doubt it. Again. I doubt it. Now connect it. I doubt it, but we can try. Very good. Now let's slow down and do a gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. I suddenly remembered something important. You can say, that reminds me. I think I need to improve more. You can say, I guess this situation happens again and again. You say, it happens all the time. Beautiful. You are becoming more natural with each step. Now let's continue. Another phrase that adds fluency to your speech is, for some reason. For example, for some reason, I feel very motivated today. Now repeat. For some reason. Again. For some reason. Now connect it. For some reason. This feels easier today. Excellent. Now, let's explore another useful phrase. In that case. This is used when you respond to a situation logically. For example, if you're busy, in that case, we can talk later. Now repeat. In that case. Again. In that case. Now use it. In that case, I'll practice tomorrow. Very nice. Now take a calm breath. Relax your shoulders. And notice how your sentences are becoming longer, smoother, and more natural. Let's continue. Another phrase you will love using is, it turns out. This is used when you discover something surprising or unexpected. For example, it turns out this method really works. Now repeat. It turns out. Again. It turns out. Now connect it. It turns out practice makes a big difference. Excellent. Now let's gently move to another phrase. I've been meaning to. This phrase is used when you wanted to do something for a while, but haven't done it yet. For example, I've been meaning to practice speaking more. Now repeat. I've been meaning to. Again. I've been meaning to. Now use it. I've been meaning to review my lessons. Beautiful. Now we'll explore a very natural phrase that helps you introduce a new thought in a soft and conversational way. And that phrase is, speaking of which. This phrase is often used when something in the conversation reminds you of a related idea. For example, I've been practicing English every day. Speaking of which, I need to review my notes tonight. Now repeat after me. Speaking of which. Again, speaking of which. Now try it in your own sentence. I watched an English movie yesterday. Speaking of which, I learned some new phrases. Very nice. Now, let's gently move forward. Sometimes you want to say that something is not as simple as it seems. And a natural phrase for that is, it's not as simple as that. For example, learning a language takes time. It's not as simple as that. Now repeat. It's not as simple as that. Again. It's not as simple as that. Now connect it. Fluency takes effort. It's not as simple as that. Excellent. Now let's introduce another very expressive phrase. I was about to. This phrase is used when you almost did something, but didn't. For example, I was about to call you, but I got busy. Now repeat. I was about to. Again. I was about to. Now use it. I was about to start practicing, but I felt tired. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase that helps you express possibility is, there's a chance. For example, there's a chance I'll practice later today. Now repeat. There's a chance. Again. There's a chance. Now connect it. There's a chance I'll improve quickly. Beautiful. Now let's gently move into another phrase. I'm getting used to. This is very helpful when you want to say that something is becoming easier for you over time. For example, I'm getting used to speaking English every day. Now repeat. I'm getting used to. Again. I'm getting used to. Now use it. I'm getting used to thinking in English. Excellent. Now let's slow down and notice how natural your sentences are becoming. Now let's continue with another phrase. It's worth it. This phrase is used when something is difficult but valuable. For example, learning English can be hard, but it's worth it. Now repeat. It's worth it. Again. It's worth it. Now connect it. Daily practice is worth it. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is not necessary, and you can say, you don't have to. For example, you don't have to be perfect to start speaking. Now repeat. You don't have to. Again. You don't have to. Now use it. You don't have to worry too much. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. It might be a good idea. This is very useful when giving suggestions politely. For example, it might be a good idea to practice every day. Now repeat. It might be a good idea. Again. It might be a good idea. Now connect it. It might be a good idea to review your notes. Beautiful. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, I'm trying to. For example, I'm trying to improve my speaking skills. Now repeat. I'm trying to. Again, I'm trying to. Now use it. I'm trying to speak more confidently. Very good. Now let's slow down. Take a gentle breath and move to another phrase. It's up to you. This phrase is used when giving someone freedom to decide. For example, we can practice now or later. It's up to you. Now repeat. It's up to you. Again, it's up to you. Now use it. You can choose your method. It's up to you. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express your expectation, and you can say, I was hoping. For example, I was hoping to practice more today. Now repeat. I was hoping. Again, I was hoping. Now connect it. I was hoping to improve faster. Very nice. Now let's gently continue. Another phrase you can use to express a result is so far. For example, so far, I feel more confident speaking English. Now repeat. So far. Again. So far. Now use it. So far, everything feels easier. Excellent. Now let's move to another expressive phrase. I'll give it a try. This phrase shows willingness to try something new. For example, this method seems interesting. I'll give it a try. Now repeat. I'll give it a try. Again. I'll give it a try. Now connect it. I'll give it a try today. Beautiful. Now, let's slow down and do a small practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You almost called your friend, but didn't. You say, I was about to call. You think something may happen. You say, there's a chance. You are slowly improving. You say, I'm getting used to it. Very nice. You are becoming more confident. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, at this point. For example, at this point, I feel more comfortable speaking. Now repeat. At this point. Again. At this point. Now use it. At this point, I understand more. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I can tell. This phrase is used when you notice something clearly. For example, I can tell you are improving. Now repeat. I can tell. Again. I can tell. Now connect it. I can tell you are becoming more confident. Beautiful. Now we'll explore another very natural phrase that helps you express hesitation in a soft and thoughtful way. And that phrase is, I'm not really sure if This phrase is very useful when you want to share uncertainty without sounding too direct or negative. For example, I'm not really sure if this is the best way to learn. Now repeat after me, slowly. I'm not really sure if. Again, I'm not really sure if. Now try it in your own sentence. I'm not really sure if I can finish this today. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to explain a reason in a more natural and conversational way. And a great phrase for that is, the thing is. This phrase helps you introduce an explanation smoothly. For example, the thing is, I didn't have enough time to practice. Now repeat. The thing is. Again. The thing is. Now connect it. The thing is, I need more practice. Is excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. I'd rather. This phrase is used when you want to express preference. For example, I'd rather practice speaking than just reading. Now repeat after me. I'd rather. Again, I'd rather. Now use it. I'd rather study in the morning. Very good. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, it's kind of. This phrase softens your statement and makes it sound more conversational. For example, it's kind of difficult at first. Now repeat. It's kind of. Again, it's kind of. Now connect it. It's kind of interesting. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to explain that something is obvious or expected, and you can say, no wonder. For example, you practiced every day. No wonder you improved. Now repeat. No wonder. Again. No wonder. Now use it. You studied a lot. No wonder you feel confident. Excellent. Now let's gently slow down and feel the rhythm again. You are doing very well. Now let's explore another useful phrase. It seems like. This phrase is used when you are making an observation. For example, it seems like you are getting better every day. Now repeat. It seems like. Again. It seems like. Now connect it. It seems like this method works. Very nice. Now let's continue. Another phrase that helps you express a plan is, I'm planning to. For example, I'm planning to practice speaking tonight. Now repeat. I'm planning to. Again. I'm planning to. Now use it. I'm planning to improve my fluency. Excellent. Now, let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express a small regret, and a natural phrase is, I wish I had. For example, I wish I had started learning earlier. Now repeat. I wish I had. Again. I wish I had. Now connect it. I wish I had practiced more yesterday. Beautiful. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. It doesn't matter. This is very useful when you want to comfort someone or reduce stress. For example, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Now repeat. It doesn't matter. Again. It doesn't matter. Now use it. It doesn't matter. Just keep going. Very good. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, I'm just saying. This phrase helps you express your opinion casually. For example, I'm just saying, practice helps a lot. Now repeat. I'm just saying. Again. I'm just saying. Now connect it. I'm just saying, you can do it. Excellent. Now let's slow down and take a small practice together. I will give you situations and you respond naturally. You are unsure about something. You say, I'm not really sure if. You want to explain your situation. You say, the thing is. Drew, you prefer one option. You say, I'd rather. Beautiful. You are becoming more natural with each phrase. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is at the same time. This phrase helps you connect two ideas. For example, learning English is fun, but at the same time, it can be challenging. Now repeat. At the same time. Again. At the same time. Now use it. It's simple, but at the same time, it requires effort. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Another expressive phrase is, that being said. This phrase is used when you want to introduce a contrasting idea. For example, it's difficult. That being said, it's possible. Now repeat. That being said, again. That being said. Now connect it. It takes time. That being said, you will improve. Very nice. Now let's gently continue. Another phrase you can use to express effort is, I'm working on. For example, I'm working on my pronunciation. Now repeat. I'm working on. Again. I'm working on. Now use it. I'm working on speaking more clearly. Excellent. Now let's move to another phrase. I'm starting to. This phrase shows gradual change. For example, I'm starting to feel more confident. Now repeat. I'm starting to. Again. I'm starting to. Now connect it. I'm starting to understand more. Beautiful. This phrase is very useful when you want to describe a situation or process in a natural flow. For example, what happens is I start my day with a little practice and then I feel more confident. Now repeat after me, slowly. What happens is, again. What happens is, now try it in your own sentence. What happens is, I forget words when I feel nervous. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to explain that something is only a small part of a bigger idea, and you can say, it's just that. For example, it's just that. I need a little more time to understand. Now repeat. It's just that. Again. It's just that. Now connect it. It's just that. I'm still learning. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. I'm beginning to. This phrase shows a slow and natural change over time. For example, I'm beginning to feel more comfortable speaking English. Now repeat after me. I'm beginning to. Again. I'm beginning to. Now use it. I'm beginning to understand conversations better. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, it feels like. This phrase helps you express your emotions or impressions. For example, it feels like I'm improving every day. Now repeat. It feels like. Again. It feels like. Now connect it. It feels like things are getting easier. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express a strong opinion in a soft way. And a great phrase for that is, I honestly think. For example, I honestly think daily practice is the key. Now repeat. I honestly think. Again. I honestly think. Now use it. I honestly think you can do this. Excellent. Now let's slow down a little. Take a gentle breath and continue. Another very natural phrase is, that's exactly what I mean. This phrase is used when someone understands your idea correctly. For example, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Now repeat after me. That's exactly what I mean. Again, that's exactly what I mean. Now try it. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Very nice. Now let's continue. Another phrase that helps you express possibility in a softer way is, it might take some time. For example, fluency doesn't happen overnight. It might take some time. Now repeat. It might take some time. Again. It might take some time. Now connect it. Improvement might take some time. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I didn't expect that. This phrase is useful when something surprises you. For example, I didn't expect that result. Now repeat. I didn't expect that. Again. I didn't expect that. Now use it. I didn't expect to improve so quickly. Beautiful. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, that's the thing. This phrase is used when you want to emphasize an important point. For example, that's the thing. Consistency is more important than speed. Now repeat. That's the thing. Again. That's the thing. Now connect it. That's the thing. You need patience. Very good. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to show understanding with emotion, and you can say, I can relate to that. For example, I also feel nervous sometimes. I can relate to that. Now repeat. I can relate to that. Again. I can relate to that. Now use it. I understand your struggle. I can relate to that. Excellent. Now let's slow down and do a small practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You are explaining your daily routine. You say, what happens is. You want to show emotional understanding. You say, I can relate to that. You want to emphasize an idea. You say, that's the thing. Beautiful. Your responses are becoming smoother, more natural, and more confident. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, I'll figure it out. This phrase shows confidence and determination. For example, I don't know the answer now, but I'll figure it out. Now repeat. I'll figure it out. Again. I'll figure it out. Now connect it. Don't worry. I'll figure it out. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Another useful phrase is, that's what matters. This phrase helps you focus on what is truly important. For example, you tried your best. That's what matters. Now repeat. That's what matters. Again. That's what matters. Now use it. You are improving. That's what matters. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I've noticed that. This phrase is used when you observe something over time. For example, I've noticed that practice improves confidence. Now repeat. I've noticed that. Again. I've noticed that. This phrase is very powerful because it reflects real progress, not something sudden, but something steady and meaningful. For example, little by little, I'm becoming more confident in speaking English. Now repeat after me, slowly. Little by little, again. Little by little, now connect it. Little by little, everything is getting easier. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to explain something clearly and honestly, and you can say, the truth is, for example, the truth is, learning takes time and patience. Now repeat. The truth is. Again. The truth is. Now use it. The truth is, I need more practice. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. I'm afraid. This phrase is often used to express something negative, but in a polite and soft way. For example, I'm afraid I can't join today. Now repeat. I'm afraid. Again. I'm afraid. Now connect it. I'm afraid I need more time. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is as long as. This phrase is used to show a condition. For example, you will improve as long as you keep practicing. Now repeat. As long as. Again. As long as. Now use it. You can succeed as long as you stay consistent. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to say that something is completely clear, and you can say, that's clear, or more naturally, that's pretty clear. For example, after practice, everything feels pretty clear. Now repeat. That's pretty clear. Again. That's pretty clear. Now connect it. Now I understand. That's pretty clear. Excellent. Now let's gently slow down. Take a calm breath and continue. Another natural phrase is, it's all about. This phrase is very common when explaining the main idea. For example, it's all about consistency. Now repeat after me. It's all about. Again, it's all about. Now use it. It's all about daily practice. Very nice. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, I have a feeling. This phrase is used when you believe something, but you're not completely sure. For example, I have a feeling this will work. Now repeat. I have a feeling. Again, I have a feeling. Now connect it. I have a feeling I'll improve soon. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to explain that something is connected to something else, and you can say, that's why. For example, I practice every day. That's why I'm improving. Now repeat. That's why. Again. That's why. Now use it. I keep going. That's why I feel confident. Beautiful. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. In general. This phrase helps you speak about something broadly. For example, in general, practice helps everyone. Now repeat. In general. Again. In general. Now connect it. In general, learning takes time. Excellent. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, I'm curious. This phrase is used when you want to ask or explore something politely. For example, I'm curious. How do you practice every day? Now repeat. I'm curious. Again. I'm curious. Now use it. I'm curious how this works. Very nice. Now let's slow down and do a gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You are improving slowly. Sat, you say, little by little. You want to explain something honestly. You say, the truth is. You want to express a condition. You say, as long as. Beautiful. You are doing very well. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, that's the reason. This phrase is similar to that's why, but slightly more formal. For example, I practice every day. That's the reason I feel confident. Now repeat. That's the reason. Again. That's the reason. Now use it. That's the reason I'm improving. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Another expressive phrase is, I'm glad. This phrase is used to express happiness. For example, I'm glad you're here. Now repeat. I'm glad. Again. I'm glad. Z, now connect it. I'm glad I started learning. Very good. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. It's going well. This phrase helps you describe progress positively. For example, my practice is going well. Now repeat. It's going well. Again. It's going well. Now use it. So far, it's going well. Beautiful. Now we'll explore another very natural phrase that helps you express a situation that is not completely perfect, but still acceptable. And that phrase is, it could be better. This phrase is very useful in real conversations, especially when you want to sound honest but still polite. For example, how was your day? And you say, it was okay. It could be better. Now repeat after me, slowly. It could be better. Again. It could be better. Now connect it. My speaking is improving, but it could be better. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is very close to happening, and you can say, I'm almost, for example, I'm almost done with my practice. Now repeat, I'm almost. Again, I'm almost. Now use it. I'm almost ready to speak confidently. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. I'll take it. This phrase is often used when something is acceptable, even if it's not perfect. For example, it's not perfect, but I'll take it. Now repeat. I'll take it. Again. I'll take it. Now connect it. It's a small improvement, but I'll take it. Beautiful. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, that's a start. This phrase helps you encourage yourself or someone else. For example, you practiced for 10 minutes. That's a start. Now repeat. That's a start. Again. That's a start. Now use it. You spoke one sentence. That's a start. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to say that something will happen in the future, and a natural phrase is sooner or later. For example, sooner or later, you will become fluent. Now repeat, sooner or later. Again. Sooner or later. Now connect it. Sooner or later. It will feel easy. Very nice. Now, let's gently slow down. Take a calm breath and continue. Another expressive phrase is, that's a relief. This phrase is used when something makes you feel relaxed after worry. For example, I understood the lesson. That's a relief. Now repeat. That's a relief. Again. That's a relief. Now use it. I finished my practice. That's a relief. Excellent. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, I'll keep that in mind. This phrase shows that you will remember something for the future. For example, practice every day. I'll keep that in mind. Now repeat. I'll keep that in mind. Again. I'll keep that in mind. Now connect it. That's a good tip. I'll keep that in mind. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is finally happening, and you can say, it's about time. For example, I started practicing daily. It's about time. Now repeat. It's about time. Again. It's about time. Now use it. I improved my speaking. It's about time. Very nice. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I can't complain. This phrase is used when things are okay. Not perfect, but still good. For example, how are you? I'm fine. I can't complain. Now repeat. I can't complain. Again. I can't complain. Now connect it. My progress is slow, but I can't complain. Excellent. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, that's good enough. This phrase is used when something meets your expectation, even if it's not perfect. For example, this level is not perfect, but it's good enough. Now repeat. That's good enough. Again, that's good enough. Now use it. Your effort is good enough. Beautiful. Now let's slow down and do a gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. Your day was okay, but not perfect. You say, it could be better. You are close to finishing something. You say, I'm almost. You accept something small. You say, I'll take it. Very nice. You are becoming more fluent, more relaxed, and more natural. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, I'm looking forward to. This phrase is used when you feel excited about something in the future. For example, I'm looking forward to improving my English. You now repeat. I'm looking forward to, again. I'm looking forward to. Now connect it. I'm looking forward to practicing tomorrow. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Another expressive phrase is, it's coming along. This phrase describes progress in a natural way. For example, my speaking skills are coming along. Now repeat. It's coming along. Again, it's coming along. Now use it. Everything is coming along well. Very nice. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I'll get there. This phrase shows belief in your future success. For example, I'm not fluent yet, but I'll get there. Now repeat. I'll get there. Again, I'll get there. Now connect it. With practice, I'll get there. Excellent. This phrase sounds a little more advanced than just saying, I'm not sure. And it helps you sound more fluent and careful in your speech. For example, I'm not entirely sure if this is the best way. Now repeat after me, slowly. I'm not entirely sure. Again. I'm not entirely sure. Now connect it. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll try. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to gently interrupt or add something to a conversation, and you can say, if I may. This phrase sounds polite, respectful, and confident. For example, if I may, I'd like to add something. Now repeat. If I may. Again. If I may. Now use it. If I may. I have an idea. Excellent. Hi. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. That's not the point. This phrase is used when you want to bring the focus back to the main idea. For example, it's not about being perfect. That's not the point. Now repeat after me. That's not the point. Again, that's not the point. Now connect it. Mistakes happen. That's not the point. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, what matters is. This phrase helps you focus on what is truly important. For example, what matters is that you keep practicing. Now repeat. What matters is. Again. What matters is. Now use it. What matters is your progress. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express a possibility in a soft and careful way, and you can say, it's possible that way. For example, it's possible that you will improve quickly. Now repeat. It's possible that. Again. It's possible that. Now connect it. It's possible that this will help you. Excellent. Now let's gently slow down. Take a calm breath and continue. Another expressive phrase is, I couldn't agree more. This phrase is used when you strongly agree with someone. For example, practice is important. I couldn't agree more. Now repeat. I couldn't agree more. Again. I couldn't agree more. Now use it. That's true. I couldn't agree more. Very nice. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, that's a great question. This is useful when someone asks something interesting or thoughtful. For example, how can I improve faster? That's a great question. Now repeat. That's a great question. Again. That's a great question. Now connect it. That's a great question. Let me explain. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to say that something is obvious after thinking, and you can say, come to think of it. For example, come to think of it, I should practice more. Now repeat. Come to think of it. Again. Come to think of it. Now use it. Come to think of it. This is helpful. Beautiful. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. That's true. This phrase shows agreement in a soft and natural way. For example, learning takes time. That's true. Now repeat. That's true. Again. That's true. Now connect it. That's true. I understand now. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, I'd appreciate it if. This phrase is very polite and often used in requests. For example, I'd appreciate it if you could help me. Now repeat. I'd appreciate it if. Again. I'd appreciate it if. Now use it. I'd appreciate it if you explain again. Excellent. Now let's slow down and do a gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You are not completely sure. You say, I'm not entirely sure. How you want to politely add something. You say, if I may. You strongly agree. You say, I couldn't agree more. Beautiful. You are becoming more expressive and confident. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, that makes a difference. This phrase is used when something has a meaningful impact. For example, practicing daily. That makes a difference. Now repeat. That makes a difference. Again. That makes a difference. Now use it. Your effort makes a difference. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Another natural phrase is, I'll be honest. This phrase is used when you want to speak openly. For example, I'll be honest, it's not always easy. Now repeat. I'll be honest. Schafter again. I'll be honest. Now connect it. I'll be honest, I need more practice. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. That's part of the process. This phrase helps you accept challenges as normal. For example, making mistakes. That's part of the process. Now repeat. That's part of the process. Again, that's part of the process. Now use it. Learning slowly. That's part of the process. Beautiful. This phrase is very useful when you feel that your previous sentence was not clear enough and you want to explain it better. For example, what I was trying to say is, you don't need to be perfect to start. Now repeat after me, slowly. What I was trying to say is, again. What I was trying to say is, now connect it. What I was trying to say is, practice matters more than perfection. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is not your intention, and you can say, I didn't mean to. For example, I didn't mean to make a mistake. Now repeat. I didn't mean to. Again. I didn't mean to. Now use it. I didn't mean to sound rude. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. That's a good way to put it. This phrase is used when someone explains something clearly and you want to appreciate it. For example, practice builds confidence. Yes, that's a good way to put it. Now repeat after me. That's a good way to put it. Again, that's a good way to put it. Now connect it. Yes, that's a good way to put it. I understand now. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, I see your point. This phrase shows that you understand someone's opinion, even if you don't fully agree. For example, I see your point, but I think practice is still important. Now repeat. I see your point. Again, I see your point. Now use it. I see your point. That makes sense. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to show that something is becoming clear to you, and you can say, it's starting to make sense. For example, after practice, it's starting to make sense. Now repeat. It's starting to make sense. Again. It's starting to make sense. Now connect it. Now I understand. It's starting to make sense. Excellent. Now let's gently slow down. Take a calm breath and continue. Another expressive phrase is, that's exactly what I needed. This phrase is used when something helps you at the right moment. For example, this explanation is helpful. That's exactly what I needed. Now repeat. That's exactly what I needed. Again. That's exactly what I needed. Now use it. This practice, that's exactly what I needed. Very nice. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, I'm still working on it. This phrase is very useful when you are improving, but not perfect yet. For example, my speaking is improving, but I'm still working on it. Now repeat. I'm still working on it. Again. I'm still working on it. Now connect it. I understand more, but I'm still working on it. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to explain that something is easier than before. And you can say, it's getting better. For example, my pronunciation, it's getting better. Now repeat, it's getting better. Again, it's getting better. Now use it. My fluency, it's getting better. Beautiful. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I didn't realize that. This phrase is used when you learn something new or surprising. For example, I didn't realize that practice was so important. Now repeat. I didn't realize that. Again, I didn't realize that. Now connect it. I didn't realize that this could help me. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, that explains a lot. This phrase is used when something becomes clear after an explanation. For example, oh, that explains a lot. Now repeat. That explains a lot. Again, that explains a lot. Now use it. Now I understand. That explains a lot. Excellent. Now let's slow down and do a gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You want to clarify your idea. You say, what I was trying to say is, you are still improving. You say, I'm still working on it. You understand something now. You say, that explains a lot. In beautiful. Your English is becoming more natural and expressive. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, I'll keep going. This phrase shows determination and consistency. For example, it's not easy, but I'll keep going. Now repeat, I'll keep going. Again, I'll keep going. Now connect it. Even if it's hard, I'll keep going. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Another natural phrase is, that's what I'm talking about. This phrase is used to show excitement or approval. For example, you practiced every day. That's what I'm talking about. Now repeat. That's what I'm talking about. Again. That's what I'm talking about. Now use it. Great progress. That's what I'm talking about. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. It really helps. This phrase is used to show usefulness. For example, listening daily. It really helps. Now repeat. It really helps. Again. It really helps. Now connect it. Practicing speaking. It really helps. Beautiful. This phrase is very useful when you are not completely sure or when the answer is not simple. For example, will I become fluent quickly? And you say, it's hard to say. Now repeat after me slowly. It's hard to say. Again, it's hard to say. Now connect it. It's hard to say, but I will keep practicing. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is slowly becoming clear, and you can say, I'm starting to get the hang of it. This is a very natural and slightly advanced phrase. For example, after practicing every day, I'm starting to get the hang of it. Now repeat. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Again. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Now use it. Speaking feels easier. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. That works. This phrase is simple, but very natural in real conversations. For example, let's meet later. That works. Now repeat after me. That works. Again. That works. Now connect it. We can practice tomorrow. That works. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, I wouldn't say that. This phrase is used when you disagree, but in a soft and polite way. For example, is this impossible? And you say, I wouldn't say that. Now repeat, I wouldn't say that. Again, I wouldn't say that. Now use it. It's difficult, but I wouldn't say that it's impossible. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is slowly becoming normal for you. And you can say, I'm getting the hang of it. For example, at first it was hard, but now I'm getting the hang of it. Now repeat. I'm getting the hang of it. Again. I'm getting the hang of it. Now connect it. Practice helps. I'm getting the hang of it. Excellent. Now let's gently slow down. Take a calm breath and continue. Another expressive phrase is, that's a step forward. This phrase is used to show progress, even if it's small. For example, you spoke one sentence. That's a step forward. Now repeat. That's a step forward. Again. That's a step forward. Now use it. You tried again. That's a step forward. Very nice. Now, let's continue. Another natural phrase is, I'm making progress. For example, even if it's slow, I'm making progress. Now repeat. I'm making progress. Again. I'm making progress. Now connect it. Little by little, I'm making progress. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express determination, and you can say, I won't give up. For example, it's difficult, but I won't give up. Now repeat. I won't give up. Again. I won't give up. Now use it. No matter what, I won't give up. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I've come this far. This phrase is used when you look back at your progress. For example, I've come this far. I should keep going. Now repeat. I've come this far. Again. I've come this far. Now connect it. I've come this far. I can do more. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, it's paying off. This phrase is used when your effort starts to show results. For example, all my practice, it's paying off. Now repeat. It's paying off. Again, it's paying off. Now use it. My hard work, it's paying off. Beautiful. Now let's slow down and do a gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You are unsure about the answer. You say, "It's hard to say." You are improving gradually. You say, "I'm getting the hang of it." You see your effort working. You say, "It's paying off." Beautiful. Your English is becoming more fluent, more natural, and more confident. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, "That's all it takes." This phrase is used to show that something is simple but effective. For example, just a little practice every day. That's all it takes. Now repeat. That's all it takes. Again. That's all it takes. Now connect it. Consistency. That's all it takes. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Another natural phrase is, "I can manage." This phrase shows ability and confidence. For example, "It's a bit difficult, but I can manage." Now repeat. I can manage. Again. I can manage. Now use it. Even if it's hard, I can manage. Very nice. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. It's not too bad. This phrase is used when something is better than expected. For example, "My speaking today, it's not too bad." Now repeat. It's not too bad. Again. It's not too bad. Now connect it. At first it was hard, but now it's not too bad. Beautiful. Now take a calm breath, relax your shoulders, and feel your progress again. Now we'll explore another very natural phrase that helps you express a situation where something becomes clear after some time or experience. And that phrase is, "Now I get it." This phrase is very common in real conversations, and it shows that understanding has just happened. For example, "Oh, now I get it." Now repeat after me, slowly. Now I get it. Again. Now I get it. Now connect it. After practicing, now I get it. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is improving faster than before, and you can say, "It's getting easier." For example, speaking English every day. It's getting easier. Now repeat. It's getting easier. Again. It's getting easier. Now use it. With practice. It's getting easier. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. That's the way. This phrase is used to encourage someone or confirm they are doing something correctly. For example, "Yes, keep practicing. That's the way." Now repeat after me. That's the way. Again. That's the way. Now connect it. Keep going. That's the way. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, "You're on the right track." This phrase is very encouraging and supportive. For example, "Your pronunciation is improving. You're on the right track." Now repeat. You're on the right track. Again. You're on the right track. Now use it. Keep practicing. You're on the right track. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to say that something is becoming a habit, and you can say, It's becoming second nature. This is a slightly more advanced phrase, and it sounds very fluent. For example, speaking English daily, it's becoming second nature. Now repeat, it's becoming second nature. Again, it's becoming second nature. Now connect it. With time, it's becoming second nature. Excellent. Now, let's gently slow down. Take a calm breath and continue. Another expressive phrase is, I feel more comfortable. For example, now, I feel more comfortable speaking English. Now repeat, I feel more comfortable. Again, I feel more comfortable. Now use it. After practice, I feel more comfortable. Very nice. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, it's making sense now. For example, after listening carefully, it's making sense now. Now repeat. It's making sense now. Again. It's making sense now. Now connect it. Everything. It's making sense now. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express that something is helping you grow, and you can say, it's helping me improve. For example, daily practice, it's helping me improve. Now repeat, it's helping me improve. Again, it's helping me improve. Now use it. Speaking every day, it's helping me improve. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I'm getting more confident. For example, with each day, I'm getting more confident. Now repeat, I'm getting more confident. Again, I'm getting more confident. Now connect it. Little by little, I'm getting more confident. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, I can see the difference. For example, after practicing, I can see the difference. Now repeat, I can see the difference. Again, I can see the difference. Now use it. Now I can see the difference. Beautiful. Vam. Now let's slow down and do a gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You understand something now. You say, now I get it. You feel improvement. You say, it's getting easier. You notice progress. You say, I can see the difference. Beautiful. Your English is flowing more naturally now. Now let's continue. Another expressive phrase is, it's all coming together. This phrase is used when everything starts to make sense as a whole. For example, after practice, it's all coming together. Now repeat. It's all coming together. Again. It's all coming together. Now connect it. Now everything. It's all coming together. Excellent. Now let's move forward. Another natural phrase is, I'm getting there. For example, I'm not perfect yet, but I'm getting there. Now repeat, I'm getting there. Again, I'm getting there. Now use it. Step by step, I'm getting there. Very nice. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. That feels right. For example, this method works. That feels right. Now repeat. That feels right. Again. That feels right. Now connect it. Now I understand. That feels right. Excellent. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, I'm proud of myself. For example, I practiced today. I am proud of myself. Now repeat. I'm proud of myself. Again. I'm proud of myself. Now use it. I kept going. I'm proud of myself. Beautiful. This phrase is very useful when you reflect on your past and notice your progress. For example, looking back, I can see how much I've improved. Now repeat after me. Slowly. Looking back. Again. Looking back. Now connect it. Looking back, I feel proud of my progress. Very nice. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express a deeper realization, and you can say, I've come to realize. For example, I've come to realize that consistency is the key. Now repeat. I've come to realize. Again. I've come to realize. Now use it. I've come to realize that practice matters most. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another expressive phrase. It all comes down to. This phrase is used when you want to explain the most important factor. For example, it all comes down to your daily effort. Now repeat after me. It all comes down to. Again, it all comes down to. Now connect it. It all comes down to consistency. Very good. Now let's continue. Another useful phrase is, in the long run. This phrase helps you talk about the future results of your actions. For example, in the long run, your effort will pay off. Now repeat. In the long run. Again. In the long run. Now use it. In the long run, you will become fluent. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express full confidence, and you can say, I truly believe. For example, I truly believe you can achieve your goals. Now repeat. I truly believe. Again. I truly believe. Now connect it. I truly believe in your progress. Excellent. Now let's gently slow down. Take a calm breath and continue. Another expressive phrase is, at this stage. For example, at this stage, I feel more confident speaking. Now repeat. At this stage. Again. At this stage. Now use it. At this stage, everything feels clearer. Very nice. Now let's continue. Another natural phrase is, there's no doubt. For example, there's no doubt that practice improves fluency. Now repeat. There's no doubt. Again, there's no doubt. Now connect it. There's no doubt. You are improving. Beautiful. Now let's move forward. Sometimes you want to express appreciation for your effort, and you can say, it was worth the effort. For example, all that practice, it was worth the effort. Now repeat. It was worth the effort. Again, it was worth the effort. Now use it. Learning every day. It was worth the effort. Excellent. Now let's gently introduce another phrase. I wouldn't change a thing. For example, looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. Now repeat. I wouldn't change a thing. Again, I wouldn't change a thing. Now connect it. All the practice. I wouldn't change a thing. Whoa, very good. Now let's slow down and do one final gentle practice together. I will give you situations, and you respond naturally. You are reflecting on your journey. You say, looking back. You understand something deeply. You say, I've come to realize. You explain the main idea. You say, it all comes down to beautiful. You have done something truly meaningful today. Imagine you are talking to a friend about your learning journey. You might say, looking back, I've come to realize that it all comes down to consistency. At first, it's not that easy, but little by little, it's getting easier. And now, I can see the difference. Now repeat that slowly with me. Looking back, I've come to realize it all comes down to consistency. Little by little, it's getting easier. And now I can see the difference. Very good. Now let's try another natural situation. Imagine someone asks you, are you fluent in English now? And you respond, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm getting there. I'm still working on it, and I truly believe I'll get there soon. Repeat softly. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm getting there. I'm still working on it, and I truly believe I'll get there. Beautiful. Now let's continue. Imagine you are encouraging someone else. You can say, it's not as simple as that, but that's part of the process. You're on the right track. And sooner or later, it will all come together. Now repeat. That's part of the process. You're on the right track. Sooner or later, it will all come together. Excellent. Now let's gently move into a slightly longer practice where you speak more freely. Just listen first and then repeat. What happens is, at first, I wasn't really sure if I could improve. But the truth is, I kept going. Little by little. I started to feel more comfortable. And now, it's becoming second nature. It's not perfect. But I can't complain. I'm making progress. And that's what matters. Now repeat slowly. Feel each part. At first, I wasn't really sure, but I kept going. Little by little, I'm making progress. And that's what matters. Very nice. Now let's try another natural flow. Imagine you are sharing your thoughts with someone. To be honest, I'd say it's not that easy at the beginning, but at the same time, it's worth it. I've noticed that daily practice really helps. And in the long run, it makes a big difference. Now repeat. To be honest, it's not that easy, but it's worth it. In the long run, it makes a difference. Beautiful. Now let's continue with a slightly more emotional expression. I'll be honest. There were times when I felt like giving up, but I didn't. I've come this far, and I won't give up. I truly believe it's paying off, and that feels right. Now repeat, slowly. I've come this far. I won't give up. It's paying off, and that feels right. Excellent. Now let's bring everything into a calm and reflective moment. Just listen. Looking back, it wasn't always easy. There were moments when I doubted myself. But that's the thing. I kept going. I kept practicing. And little by little, everything started to make sense. And now, I feel more comfortable, more confident, and more ready than ever before. Now repeat gently. Looking back, I kept going. Little by little, everything made sense. And now, I feel more confident. Very nice. Now let's do one final deep practice together, where you speak more naturally without overthinking. Just follow the feeling. I'm not entirely sure where this journey will take me, but I'm getting there. I can see the difference. I'm starting to understand more, and even though it's not perfect, it's good enough. I'll keep going because I know sooner or later it will all come together. Now repeat, slowly and calmly. I'm getting there. I can see the difference. I'll keep going and it will all come together. Beautiful. Thank you so much for spending this calm and meaningful time with me today. It truly means a lot to me that you chose to practice your English in this gentle and focused way. I hope you feel a little more confident now, a little more comfortable, and a little more connected to the language. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going, step by step, little by little. Try to use just a few of these phrases in your daily life. Repeat them softly, speak them out loud, and let them become a natural part of your thinking. Over time, you'll notice that your English begins to flow more easily, more smoothly, and more naturally. And if you ever feel stuck or unsure, just come back to this kind of slow, relaxed practice, because this is where real confidence grows, quietly, gently, and consistently. I'm really proud of you, truly, and I'm always here learning with you, supporting you, and guiding you on this journey. Take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, smile softly, and carry this calm confidence with you into your next English conversation. I'll see you again very soon. Until then, keep practicing, keep believing, and keep moving forward.